Still a few miles from Kartasora and the start of the Transfagarasan Highway, we catch the Făgărășan Mountains in the distance, a natural border between Transylvania and Wallachia. One left turn and we're heading straight for it. We're going north to south, against the grain, because why follow the herd when you can lead the charge? And we were also thinking the best sites and the best parts of road were at the northern end, so we'd get there before the rest of the herd. And what made the most sense was that we were staying in Brașov the night before and we're staying in Bucharest tonight. Most people tackle it south to north, climbing from Pitești, but we're rebels. Heading north to south means that mountains reveal themselves slowly, teasing us from the horizon until they tower over us like stone guardians. It's the cinematic build-up this road deserves. Besides, descending into these hairpins later feels like being dropped into a video game level, one where the stakes are your suspension and your sanity. From the plains, the Făgărășan peaks rise in the distance, jagged and snow-kissed even in summer. The closer we get, the more the anticipation builds. Kartasora appears, a sleepy village that feels like a gateway to another world. Then the road begins to climb, gently at first, like it's warming us up for the madness ahead. We're buzzing with the thought of what we might see. Sheep grazing lazily, donkeys trotting along like they own the place, and dare we hope to see bears. Everyone says the south side at dawn is your best bet, but we're optimists, or fools, probably both. Spoiler alert, later, just when we'd given up hope, a bear casually parked itself right in front of us. But that's a story and pictures for a few miles down the road. The higher we climb, the more the butterflies kick in. Excitement, yes, but also trepidation. This isn't a road, it's a test of nerve. The first hairpins arrive, curling like a snake across the slopes. We grin and grip the wheel tighter, and we lean into the adventure. The first tunnel swallows us, short, dark, echoing, then spits us back out into the daylight and the sunshine. It's the first of several, each one a reminder that this road was blasted through rock, not politely laid upon it. Jeremy Clarkson once thundered down this ribbon of tarmac and declared it the best driving road in the world. He also said it looks like every great corner from every great racetrack in the world has been knitted together to create an unbroken grey ribbon of automotive perfection. And when Clarkson speaks, half the planet listens. We didn't just listen, we're now driving it. The Transfagarasan wasn't built for joyriders. In the 1970s, Nicolae Ceausescu ordered it carved through the Făgărășan Mountains as a strategic military route. Cold War paranoia meets Romanian engineering grit. The result? A road that looks like it was sketched by a caffeinated roller coaster designer. It's Romania's answers to, what if a roller coaster and spaghetti noodles had a baby and dropped it in the middle of the Carpathians? It's 90 kilometres of bends, tunnels, viaducts, waterfalls and sheer drama. A road that makes your sat-nav sigh, wish you good luck and makes your brakes pray. Then we notice the first roadside memorial. This one marks a spot where two subunits working to open the Transfagarasan road met on August the 16th, 1971. There's lots of other memorials dotted along the route, some of which are to honour the memory of the 40 lives that were lost constructing the road. Then comes the dramatic drops. Elaine, riding in the passenger seat, glances out of a window and lets out a gasp that could power the car. The abyss beside her door is a reminder. This road doesn't just flirt with danger, it takes it dancing. Then we see the first cable car pylons appear, steel skeletons against the sky, hinting at the altitude we're crawling towards, and we're almost at the top. A delicate waterfall trickles down the cliffside, as if nature's adding its own special effects. Finally, we roll into the lake car park, our first proper stop. Well, apart from that earlier toilet break in the woods, where we kept one eye on the trees just in case a bear fancied us for lunch. As we pulled into the lake car park, the road's drama gave way to a different kind of theatre, the street vendors. A whole line of stalls stretched along the roadside, each one piled high with rustic treasures. Golden breads still warm from the oven, wheels of cheese stacked like edible trophies, strings of salami dangling like decorations, and ears of corn roasted until their husks crackled. The air was thick with the smell of smoke, dough and mountain herbs. A roadside feast for anyone brave enough to tackle the Transfagarasan. Souvenir stalls jostled for space too. Carved wooden bears, embroidered cloths, fridge magnets and trinkets that seemed to wink at passing travellers. It was a carnival of colour and flavour, a reminder that this road isn't just about asphalt and adrenaline, it's about people, tradition and the joy of sharing food. These food stall vendors are stretched intermittently up and down both sides of the highway. I'd resisted 2 or 3 stops before we stopped at the lake. Here I couldn't resist any longer. Buffalo cheese, a loaf of bread and corn on the cob became our provisions for the journey ahead. Simple, hearty and exactly what you want when the mountains are calling. As we wandered through the stalls, one vendor waved us over with a grin and a tray of cheese. Suddenly we were in a full-blown tasting session. 7 different samples lined up like contestants in a talent show. Sharp sheep's cheese, creamy cows, smoky varieties that tasted like campfires, and even one that could possibly double as a building material. Each bite came with a chuckle, a raised eyebrow, or Elaine's polite but unmistakable no thank you face. In the end, the buffalo cheese won the crown. Rich, tangy and perfect for the road ahead. We paired it with a loaf of bread still warm from the oven and a cob of corn roasted until its kernels popped with sweetness. It felt less like buying provisions and more like joining a roadside banquet, the kind of feast that makes you forget you're halfway up a mountain. Elaine cradled the corn like treasure, I clutched the bread like a prize, and the buffalo cheese sat proudly between us, our edible souvenirs from the Transfagarasan's first stop. Leaving the lake behind, the road wastes no time in throwing us into darkness. Instantly, we enter the Balea Tunnel. Not only the longest tunnel on the Transfagarasan, but the longest road tunnel in all of Romania. It's a cold, echoing passage carved straight through the mountain. Headlights bouncing off the damp walls. The sound of tyres amplified like a drumbeat. Emerging back into daylight feels like surfacing from another world. A few more tunnels follow, each one shorter but no less dramatic. They're like punctuation marks in the sentence of this road. Commas, dashes, exclamation points carved in stone. Then, as if to remind us that this is still countryside, a herd of sheep appears, grazing casually on the mountainside. Their bells clink, their wool glows in the sun, and they look utterly unimpressed by our automotive adventure. For them, the Transfagarasan Highway is just lunch with a view. Around the bend, the Capra waterfall tumbles down the cliff, sparkling in the sunlight like nature showing off. And right beside it, another row of food vendors. Their stalls bursting with local flavours. Smoke rises from the grills, salamis hang in neat rows, and the scent of cured meat mingles with mountain air. We couldn't resist. A vendor sliced us samples of salami-type meats, each one spicier or smokier than the last. After a few bites and a lot of noddings, we settled on a fiery Romanian pork salami, the perfect partner for our buffalo cheese and bread. Packed away in our bag, it felt like we were assembling a picnic fit for the gods of the mountains. The vendor was a showman. slicing salami samples with the flair of a magician. Each piece landed in our hands like a challenge. One sample was so smoky it tasted like it had been cured inside a chimney. Elaine laughed, coughed and said, "That one's for dragons, not humans." Finally, the spicy pork salami won us over. Elaine gave it a nod of approval, I gave it a dramatic thumbs up, and the vendor grinned like he'd just recruited 2 new disciples. And just when we thought the Transfagarasan had shown us all its quirks, we stumbled upon a scene that felt plucked from a fairy tale. Or maybe a slightly haunted one. A weathered rope bridge stretched across a narrow stream, its wooden planks warped and missing in parts, swaying gently in the breeze like it remembered better days. On the far side, a couple of circular stone tables with matching stools sat waiting, as if inviting weary travellers to rest, reflect or share stories over mountain cheese and mystery. It looked like the kind of place where shepherds might gather, or where elves might hold council. And next to the rope bridge stood a tiny chapel, humble, quiet and beautifully out of place. Its crosses caught the sunlight, and for a moment the whole scene felt sacred. Not in a grand cathedral way, but in that quiet Romanian way, where nature and faith share the same breath. We didn't try and cross the bridge. It looked like it was auditioning for a collapse. But we lingered, soaked in the stillness. It was a pause in the chaos. A reminder that even on a road built for adrenaline, there's room for reverence. Just as we were settling into our mountain picnic mindset, the Transfagarasan threw us another curveball. 2 donkeys, standing proudly at the roadside like they were auditioning for a tourism brochure. They didn't flinch as we passed, they didn't even blink. Just stood there, tails swishing, ears twitching, like they'd seen 1,000 cars and judged every one of them. Elaine waved, I offered a diplomatic nod, the donkeys just remained neutral. Instantly we entered another of the Transfagarasan's so-called tunnels. Though calling it a tunnel is generous. These are more like concrete shelters, open on one side, held up by thick support columns that look like they were designed by someone who builds bunkers for fun. They're dramatic, functional and oddly beautiful, casting long shadows across the road and framing the mountains like a series of brutalist picture frames. Rain, snow, rockfall, these shelters are Romania's way of saying, "Nice try nature, not today." The Transfagarasan doesn't just do drama, it does scale. And nowhere is that more obvious than the Dracula Dam. A colossal slab of concrete wedged between cliffs, holding back a lake like it's trying to impress the gods of hydroelectricity. Elaine, ever the brave one, tackled the staircase to the top. I stayed firmly at ground level, partly out of respect for my knees, mostly out of respect for gravity. Heights and I have an understanding. I don't challenge them and they leave me alone. From the summit, Elaine snapped photos of the metal statue, a towering figure with arms raised, like it's conducting the wind or summoning thunder. It's called Prometheus, and it looked like he's having a very dramatic day. At the base of the dam, another row of roadside vendors had set up shop, because even concrete megastructures deserve snacks. We'd pretty much given up hope. After watching countless YouTube clips of bears casually strolling across the Transfagarasan like they owned the place, we were just starting to feel cheated. No bear, no drama, just us, our salami, and a growing sense of wildlife envy. And then, boom, there he was, a full-size bear, parked like a traffic warden between one car and ours. No rush, no panic, just sitting there, blocking the road like he was checking permits. We were first on the scene, front row seats to Romania's most intimidating roadblock. We snapped photos, grabbed some video, and then I had a genius idea. I turned to Elaine and said, "Wind your window down, I'll drive past slowly, you get the close-up, this is the shot. The YouTube moment. This is the one." Now Elaine has a habit, a charming one, of cutting off heads, in photos. Not metaphorically. Literally. So I made it very clear. This was the one and only chance. No pressure, but also all the pressure. "Are you ready?" I asked. Yes, she said with the confidence of someone about to win a wildlife photography award. I repeated, "Are you ready?" "Yes," she said.
Ready? Yeah.
We rolled past slowly. The bear didn't move. Elaine had a phone like a pro. I drove like a cameraman. Then once we were safely out of range, we reviewed the footage. She'd filmed the bear's arse. Not its face, not its majestic posture, just a big, furry backside. Cue the argument. I was outraged. She was defensive. I was scared, she said. I closed my bloody eyes. And that, dear viewers, is how our epic bear sighting became a cinematic fail. A moment of glory reduced to a shaky clip of a bear's arse. And relationship tension. Still, we saw a bear, and that's more than most can say, even if it was from the wrong end.
Ready? Yeah. Ready? Yeah. Ready? Yeah.
Now, I'm useless at impressions, but this is how I think David Attenborough would see it. And here, we witness the majestic Carpathian brown bear in its natural habitat, the Transfagarasan Highway. Note its posture, relaxed, regal, and entirely indifferent to the queue of vehicles forming behind it. This is not a bear in a hurry. This is a bear conducting roadside diplomacy. Observe the human female seated in the passenger seat. She is tasked with capturing this rare moment. Her mate, the driver, has placed great trust in her ability to operate a small rectangular device known as a smartphone. But alas, nature is cruel. Instead of the bear's noble visage, we are gifted a close-up of its rear quarters, a furry moon, eclipsing all hopes of viral glory. The female claims fear, the male claims sabotage. The bear continues in its silent reign as Romania's most photogenic traffic warden.
Ready? Yeah.
And finally, as if the Transfagarasan hadn't already given us enough drama, we rolled up to Dracula's castle. A building so steeped in legend, it practically drips with gothic atmosphere. Its turrets and stone walls rise above the road like they've been waiting centuries for unsuspecting travellers to wander by. Beautiful, imposing, and just the right amount of spooky. And just down the road from the castle was another castle-like building, and this one had statues outside and Dracula written on the roof. I still have no idea what it was, but it's well worth a visit, and if anybody knows what it was, please put it in the comments. Our grand finale was meant to be the jewel of the journey, the Curtea de Arges Monastery. Famous for its twisted columns, ornate stonework and fairy tale silhouette, the kind of building that makes you whisper "wow" before you even realise you've said it. But in true Transfagarasan fashion, fate had other plans. After Elaine's bare butt video fail, the monastery decided to join the comedy act. The entire exterior was wrapped in scaffolding, every elegant curve and carved detail hidden behind steel poles and tarps. It was like turning up for a concert and finding the band stuck behind a curtain. Thankfully, the inside was still open, and it was beautiful. Frescoes glowing in candlelight, icons shimmering with gold, and a hush that made you lower your voice without thinking. So our photos of the outside were useless. Scaffolding doesn't make for great postcards. We borrowed a few images from the internet to show what it should look like, because trust me, it's stunning when not dressed like a construction site. And with that, our Transfagarasan adventure came to a close. Tunnels, waterfalls, donkeys, vendors, salami, a bear's backside, Dracula's castle, and finally a monastery in disguise. A road trip equal parts epic and ridiculous, which in the end is exactly why we loved it. It's a road that doesn't just take you through mountains. It takes you through stories, surprises, and the occasional relationship dispute over wildlife photography. Would I like to do it again? In a heartbeat. I'd gladly have turned that car around straight away and tackled it south to north. just to squeeze every last drop of drama from those bends and drops. But fate had other plans. A hot rod road trip in Bucharest was waiting for us the very next morning. So we left the Transfagarasan behind, not with regret, but with certainty that this wasn't goodbye. It was just the first chapter in a story we'll keep telling. One hairpin, one bear, one laugh at a time. We hope you enjoyed this ride just as much as we did.